What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, D and do a commentary. Alright, so we've got Willard 89 at the top, 1727, Gigabear at the bottom, 1757. So the ratings are fairly even. And this is Madolche versus Infernity, or as I like to say, New Infernity versus Old Infernity, because basically the same deck. Willard played Card D turn 1. That's how he has so many cards. And Gigabear, who we have already established, always has Soul Charge. So he goes and he puts the same two monsters back on board that Willard just torrentialed. And he goes for Exiton Knight. By the way, Gigabear plays like 3 Exiton Knights. So he does that a lot. Exiton Knight gets Breakthrough skilled. And he sets 1. And it just passes. Doesn't use Armageddon's effect at all. So, advantage New Infernity right now. But Old Infernity does have the E-Knight, so we probably won't be seeing any attacks here. Alright, so a Chateau comes down. And Willard still hasn't played any Madolche monsters. Alright, we see Hoot Cake, and I'd imagine, oh, Gigabear says, fuck this, I'm scooping it up. Alright, so Gigabear definitely not looking his sharpest right there, but he looks like he's already sided up, and he's ready for game 2. And I imagine, I mean, I guess in this particular matchup, I like Old Infernity over New Infernity, because New Infernity, like, Madolches are cool, but they're so combo-oriented in the fact that it's like, if any of their monsters get disrupted, they just lose, don't they? Like, you know, they need Hoot Cake to go off, and then they need Angeli to get the Hoot Cake, and they need all of their monsters to kind of just go off unopposed. At least, I have yet to see a version play Instant Fusion, and it's kind of mind-baffling to me. But it's like, if you have Breakthrough skill, it's like they can't do anything. Or if you have a Fat Veiler or anything, you can say, oh, well, that's against any deck. No, not really. Alright, so Gigabear is opening up. I mean, you see a lot of decks play Soul Charge, and they can, you know, kind of recover from a Breakthrough skill or a Bottomless or something like that. You know, they can recover and continue to make their play. Now, I know Willard does play Trap Stuns, which, I mean, they're pretty good. I don't particularly love Trap Stun. I mean, I guess I say I like it in a deck that can OTK, and actually, New Infernity, aka Madolche, can OTK because of Tiramisu. So, I guess I like it there. You see Gigabear starts with a T-set, which is very rare for Infernity. And Willard just starts off with a bunch of set monsters, or set Spell and Trap. He might go Card D again, who knows? Okay, he doesn't. He just goes set 2 back row and pass. Play goes to Gigabear, who flip summons Street Patrol. I guess he didn't really care if Street Patrol got ran over. He probably wants it in the graveyard to use the effect. Or he may have drawn 2 of them, and he's going into an XC. It's probably going Lavalval Chain or yeah, Dire Wolf. So Dire Wolf gets rid of problem back rows because your opponent has to use the back row on the Dire Wolf. And he's getting the MST effect on one of the cards. It's Trap Stun. Maybe his set card is MST, who knows? Alright, so he's going to use the effect of Street Patrol to summon Eris. And I wonder what he's going to do from here. You rarely ever see Eris hit the field. He sets a couple of cards. Okay, so he uses the second one, maybe Archfiend. Uses the second Street Patrol to summon Archfiend. Archfiend gets hit with Veiler. But I mean, you can just kind of attack now. Your opponent has 4 cards, and you kind of have 5. Not to mention you have 2,800 on board. Alright, so he goes to continuous combo. Grabbing a... Not sure what he's going to get. I mean, he might go level 3. Actually, that's what I think he's going to do. Oh, no, I thought he was going to go level 3 and then make Levier. But he goes level 4 for Lavalval Chain. Discards or detaches the Archfiend. I think he's going to put another Archfiend on top of his deck. That's what I think he's going to do. I think he's going to put another Archfiend on top of his deck. What is he going to do? Okay, so he dumps Armageddon Knight. Interesting. Maybe he has Soul Charge or something. That's a play that I generally wouldn't see coming. Okay, he does have Soul Charge. How great would a Needle Ceiling be in this situation? Alright, so he Soul Charges for 2 cards, getting Archfiend effect. And it looks like old Infernity is definitely winning the battle right now. Old Infernity uses Archfiend to get probably Launcher, because he can make a second Lavalval Chain, and then he can just use that Lavalval Chain to dump Necromancer as well. You almost have too much monsters on board then. So he's looking at his deck and trying to think of what the ends to that play is. So Gigabear is still thinking. I mean, when you play Infernity, you pretty much make a lot of the same plays, so his play should be fairly routine. Okay, so he decides to get Necromancer instead of getting Archfiend, or instead of getting Launcher. And somehow he added a Street Patrol to his hand too. Okay, that's from the dump effect. Alright, so okay, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. So he goes Lavalval Chain, and he banishes the last Street Patrol for Necromancer, which activates Archfiend again. I imagine this time. Okay, so he gets Barrier. I'm not sure if he's going to exceed with these two for a Levier. I mean, he could get back Street Patrol, but like, how does that really help his play? I would just leave it on board, to be honest. I find it very difficult for Willard to kill this board. And kill like for you to kill Archfiend and Necromancer, I just don't see that happening. Not to mention, you can always. Okay, well, he does exceed. I was gonna say, not to mention, if Eris dies, and you can get a card from Eris too. So he decides to get Street Patrol and then pass turn. Honestly, I think I would have just left the Eris on board with the Necromancer in defense. I feel like you just gain more advantage from that. Although I guess if his opponent doesn't do anything, he could always just exceed, and then he could make Diamond Direwolf again and start popping cards. So alright, we see Mew Kitty come down. I would immediately barrier that. Oh, but it gets wiretapped. Sorry, but yeah, I would have made the same play. Because Mew Kitty is basically the start of an explosion play. And yeah, I definitely would have did it too. Now he goes Angeli. If you don't have break, oh, he bottomlesses. So yeah, that's a thing. And now it looks like Gigabear or Infernity Old is probably just gonna win this duel, because I mean, is there some way that okay, Willard just says, all right, well, I'm gonna pass. I don't understand why if he doesn't think he can win, he doesn't scoop. Okay, so we see Gigabear set his card that he drew. I imagine these two are going to go rank 4 XC. And I mean, you gotta at least pop this. I mean, everything can just run over. Nah, you can just attack. I guess, yeah, you can just attack, try and attack for game, and then main phase 2. Oh, okay, I see what happened. So Barrier went right back to the top, and he didn't shuffle, and he ended up drawing it again. So clearly he didn't shuffle from the wiretap, and I guess he should get a new card, because you definitely don't want Infernity having Barrier again. Okay, so people think that the watchers apparently think that he did shuffle. Regardless, I wouldn't want my opponent having a Barrier again of all cards. Because if you're Willard, I mean, you pretty much cannot go off if your opponent has a barrier set. Whatever you do, the first action you try and take, they're going to barrier the fuck out of it. Although I guess that means that he can't, what's it called? He can't exceed. He has to leave the Archfiend on board. Okay, or maybe he can. He's going rank 4. And what's he going for? Okay, he goes for Black Ship of Corn, which actually trades in damage. He uses Mew Kitty, or he uses the effect. Oh, okay, I guess he just wanted to open up space so that he can use Levier's effect. And now he's going to go for the OTK. And does he have Train or not? Nope, he doesn't. So he gets OTK'd. And yep, we're currently tied. Old Infernity 1, New Infernity 1. So this is the decisive game 3. And I wonder who's got the advantage here. I mean, I always give the advantage to the deck that goes first because, again, going first is just, it's so powerful, this format. It just seems like, especially when you have traps that are on a limited scale, you know, traps that are so good that they are limited in bottomless trap hole, and we have a monster that searches them, you know what I mean? I am going to make a video about that. But I feel like, we definitely need that rule that you only get 5 cards. Because, I mean, personally, with my Boojins, I would probably go second a lot. But, you know, I think that that would hurt a lot of these decks that like to wall up with back row. I mean, even if your opponent they opened with the Myrmilio and got the bottomless, they'd still only be at 6 cards, which that would pretty much be like the only great play that they would have. Now it's like, man, you open up with Myrmilio, you got 7 cards, including a bottomless. That's unfair. So Willard opens up with Madolche, which gets him Angeli. And now he has 7 cards. Speak of the devil, and the devil show up here. So I imagine at least 2 cards in the back row. Usually I like to see more than that. But, I mean, they better be real cards because Gigabear is known for going Exiton Knight multiple times. I've seen this guy go Exiton Knight twice in the same turn. Okay, and we do see an instant fusion. And again, I was just talking about how I haven't seen instant fusion that much in Madolche, and here we go. Now he's going rank 4. My question is, what rank 4 does anything? Okay, so he goes Giant Hand in defense mode. I think that's decent against Infernity turn 1. A lot of times they might want to go like Diamond Direwolf. I feel like maybe he should have saved that to try and go off, but then again, if he thinks his opponent's going to go off, then, you know, obviously you got to make that tough decision. All right, so you see a Monk play. Monk will go neg 1 if he chooses to negate it. I'd negate the Monk. I'm not even going to question that because the spell you ditch to the graveyard, it's not like you can soul charge the spell back. If you had to ditch a monster, then, like if it was Greffer, I would probably not negate Greffer. If it was Armageddon Knight, I probably wouldn't negate it. But, yeah, I'm definitely negating the Monk. Now you see Launcher come down, and you wonder if he's going to use the Launcher effect to get some cards out of his hand. He does. Launcher discards Archfiend. Sets 1. Sets 2. Launcher activates. And it looks like we're going to see Archfiend's effect, whether he bottomlesses or not. The only thing that would be able to stop that is a Trap Tricks Nightmare. Okay, so effect is good. And he's already burnt through Launcher. The question is he going to be able to get a Lavalval Chain? I mean, does he believe he can get to Lavalval Chain? If he can get to Lavalval Chain, the things he can search they drastically change. Like, he might want to take a Necromancer, and if he can get Lavalval Chain on board and dump Street Patrol, then obviously that would be good. Okay, so it kind of looks like what I just said he's going for. He's going for Lavalval Chain. Lavalval Chain is going to activate, puts Archfiend in the graveyard. And I imagine he's going for Street Patrol. I mean, because now he can just, yeah. Okay, so he's going to obviously put Street Patrol in the graveyard. It's going to be banished. Special summon Necromancer. Necromancer is going to try and activate, which is going to get him Archfiend again. At this point, I would probably get a break. Okay, so he gets Barrier. And he's probably just going to pass turn. So we've got 6 on 7, although I'm not really sure how much damage the Giant Hand is really going to do here. If you attack the Archfiend, which you don't want to do, he'll just get it back with Necromancer. Which means technically you can't even put anything in attack, but do you really want to give your opponent another Lavalval Chain drop? I'm not sure if you want to do that. Because, I mean, you just know he's going to put another Street Patrol in the graveyard. Or he could put Archfiend on top of the deck. You don't want that either. Because he has Barrier, which means he would obviously trigger the Archfiend's effect. And then if you tried to use something like a debunk or whatever, he could just bury. Well, no, you'd have a card in hand. But if you tried to use something like, I mean, when it hits the field, if you tried to use something like a Bottomless or a Trap Tricks Nightmare, when it hits the field to add, he could just barrier that card. So we're now going to see a Hoop Cake hit the field, and he had Infernity break 2. Wow, sometimes that's just too much. All right, so we see Trap Stun come down. I think you probably got to barrier that. Yep, and he does. He burns the barrier. Oh, shit, and he gets wiretapped. Second time his barrier has gotten wiretapped, and man, I sort of feel like Willard might have just played him like a fiddle. So obviously he can banish either one of the cards that he used for Giant Hand to use Hoop Cake's effect, and I think right now I think he might. Well, I don't think he'll get gamed, but no way, he has a 2K beater on board. There's a small chance he could get gamed. All right, so Hoop Cake brings out Best in Gelato, which gets Chateau to hand. He plays Chateau, which I think bandit or puts all of the Madolches back in the deck. Huh. I thought his play would go a little further. Alright, so Necromancer gets attacked. Lavalvo Chain gets attacked. And Archfiend gets attacked. So he completely clears the board out. And now Giga Bear is looking like okay. Sets a card in the back row, obviously. You wonder what he's going to top deck. Top deck Street Patrol, which can't do anything. I don't know. Yeah, I think Giga... Oh, my lord. We see a Soul Charge. That is just... I'm not going to lie. I like what you said. Lego. Let's go. All right. So, he goes... he goes for 3. Archfiend's going to trigger. I think he's gonna get a break. He's either gonna get a no. He might get Necromancer. He might get Necromancer because he's got Street Patrol on field. I'm kind of surprised that Willard stopped there. Like, I don't know. Maybe he didn't have any other monsters in hand, but how could he have done that different to where he could have done more damage or something? I don't know. Well, he met Messenger Gelato was a special summon. Yeah, I guess, well, Messenger Gelato is a +1 when you special summon it, so I guess that's about the best he could have done. Alright, anyways, Giga Bear already paid his 3K. So now, unless Willard has some very real card, or I was going to say cards, but unless this is a very real card, like a Needle Sealing, which would have been great there. Needle Sealing would at least stop the bleeding. So Giga Bear looks like he's changing his mind. I think that Necromancer is probably the best pick here because let's say hypothetically your field did get Needle Sealing, you would want a way to get your Archfiend back on board. I would think so. And it looks like he's thinking now. I mean, let's think about some potential plays that he can do here. Alright, so you can take Archfiend and Street Patrol, and he hasn't used any Exceeds yet. So I would think you'd want to go like Diamond Direwolf, potentially pop the back row. I always think that Diamond Direwolf is best used on unknown cards. Okay, so you could pop the back row. All he's used is 1 break and 1 barrier. So he has 2 breaks left. Alright. So you can go this plus this, pop the back row, so that you don't have to worry about anything. Then you can use Necromancer's effect. That gets you your first break. Archfiend and Monk will exceed. And I guess they'll 101 this guy because he's only 21. Alright, so he goes Diamond Direwolf. And he goes for the back row, which is bottomless. Doesn't matter if he bottomless or not. As long he just wants to get rid of the back row. You know, a lot of this play I think matters. I think a lot of it depends on if he plays 2 Diamond Direwolves. Because if he plays 2 Diamond Direwolves, he should have he should pop Hoop Cake. This isn't a problem because all you have to do is use break on this if it becomes like too big of an issue. Really what you only need to get rid of is Hoop Cake in that back row. So we now see Archfiend activates for the first time. Obviously, he's going to get 1 break. I mean, I'd play 2 Diamond Direwolves if I was playing Infernity. I mean, outside of Exiton and Diamond Direwolf would be the 2 Exceeds that I play 2 of. And then everything else would be like 1 of. You're not going to need 2 Dwellers in Infernity. You're not going to need two 101s, but sometimes Dweller can pop all types of stuff, and Dweller can pop shit that's normal summon, like, you know, this guy right here. I guess he's going Lavalval Chain. I mean, yeah, I guess he's going Lavalval Chain. Okay, so yeah, he goes Lavalval Chain, dumping the Archfiend in the graveyard, which got Eris, which got him the Labyrinth. Oh, okay, I guess he did that to get rid of Chateau. Huh, that was smart. So yeah, he got rid of Chateau while getting a plus in the meantime. So you see he uses the second Necromancer effect, and then he goes and gets another break. Now I would imagine you would see with these two for Levier. Oh, nope. Okay, my mistake. Looks like he's going to activate Labyrinth's effect to get a third Archfiend. What else could he search at this point? He's already used two, already has 3 breaks and a barrier. Like, he already used all 4 of his power cards. 3 breaks and a barrier. He has 1 in graveyard, and 1 of each in graveyard. Obviously, he has 2 breaks left. So he gets Archfiend. Oh, right, he wiretapped it. Yeah, that's right, he wiretapped it. It went back into the deck. So he can search it again. Okay, so... well, he's still in a good position. Yeah, I'm kind of concerned. I'm kind of wondering why that has a counter on it, too. Oh, right, it was summoned by Angelion. So during your opponent's next... it's, I think it's during Willard's next end phase, it'll go back to the deck if he doesn't exceed with it or something like that. Yeah, it's his next end phase, not this one. It should be that end phase. I don't know why they made it the next end phase. Like, you're not, like, you're really going to go 2 turns without trying to exceed, or, you know, like, that thing's really going to live 2 turns. Like, really? Alright, so he got that last barrier. That changes things a lot. But, quite frankly, I don't think that he has to do anything else. I think when he tries to activate Hoot Kick, you just barrier it, and everything else you just use Break on. I mean, he has the 2 beat sticks right now. Both of these guys are 2300, and if for some chance that this guy would actually... okay, so in the standby phase, instead of using barrier on it, he uses Break on it. That's fine. He still has a break and a barrier set. Oh, if there was some way to put spells and traps back in the deck, right? Outside of Wiretap. And that's the one situation where I guess Wiretap seriously hurt, is when you put an Infernity barrier back into the deck. That's no good, because they're just going to search that shit right back out. So old Infernities seem to be whooping new Infernities' ass right now. And Willard kind of needs to... what can he do where he can dodge Break and Barrier? I mean, I don't know. I mean, he can go 101, but that can't even kill the 2 Archfiends. You can't go 101. 101, also, he could just blow it up with Break, and then if it tried to trigger, he could Barrier it. I wouldn't think he would waste 2 cards, or any cards, for that matter, on a 101. Yeah, I don't see this duel going well for him. Even if he had something like Lance to dodge the Break, he could barrier the Lance. The only way I would see him coming back is if he walled up with traps. If all 3 of these cards were traps, and like one of them was a Wiretap, the other was like a Needle Sealing, and then it was like another Needle Sealing or something like that. Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, that'd be good if he had like... or you could just have triple Needle Sealing. That'd be even better. Just Needle Sealing. Okay, you barrier it, Needle Sealing again. Or just Needle Sealing when you draw a card. Okay, so Willard seems to be thinking... I really hate when people do this. If you know you can't win, don't waste my time. Just scoop. You don't know. Yeah, you didn't know that he had Soul Charge. I think Giga Bear is trying to tell him that he should have done a different play. I guess, yeah, he's trying to tell him that. I think he's talking about the giant hand. But regardless, let's see what the chat's saying. Alright, finally, Willard decides to actually do something. He summons Messenger Gelato. I think he's going to use Break on it immediately. No, wait. I guess why use break when you can just wait? Okay, so yeah, he does use break. So he breaks the Messenger Lotto. It should go back to the deck. And that was your only normal summon. So kind of need your back row to get you through this, champ. He goes into battle phase, attacking Laval Chain, who's a Sea Serpent. So Laval Chain dies. The problem for him is, obviously, he can just attack with these guys. Well, the Messenger Lotto that was brought out from Angeli goes back to the deck, so that's even worse. I don't think he has a third Archfiend. Alright, that was really, really bad, because now he's going to go 101, I imagine. And then he's going to use Necromancer's effect. Okay, I don't think 101 was supposed to come out on that. You know what? I think he might get OTK'd here. Yeah, I think he's going to get OTK'd. Alright, let's see if I can predict this. I think he's going to go 101 on this. Then he's going to activate this effect to get Archfiend back. He's not going to search at all. Then he's going to launch this to get the third Archfiend. And he's going to attack with everybody. And then he's going to do Cowboy for a game if he needs to. I'm pretty sure that's a OTK. That's 21 plus 23 plus 23 again. That's 46. 67 plus 800 is 67 plus 800 is what, 75? Yeah, that's 75k before Cowboy. So that's 8300. That's 8300 total. So yeah, he does exactly what I thought. Now he can launch this for Labyrinth, unless he doesn't have. Okay, so yeah, that's exactly what he does. He launches this for Labyrinth, gets Archfiend back. This right here is 7,500. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just did that math right. Alright, so he takes 800. Takes 21. Alright. I totally forgot about that. Never mind, he has Barrier. Yeah, we also didn't forget about Barrier, though. Yep, so Barrier activates. Unless he has another one. If he has another one, that'd be cool. Nope, he doesn't. And that is game. Looks like old Infernities are better than new Infernities.